Now, read along with me as I read the directions for Part C. Remember, you should not read ahead or turn the pages while the directions for this part are being read. Part C. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear several talks. After each talk, you will hear some questions. The talks and questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Here is an example. On the recording, you will hear, "Listen to an instructor talk to his class about painting."
Artist Grant Wood was a guiding force in the school of painting known as American Regionalist, a style reflecting the distinctive characteristics of art from rural areas of the United States. Wood began drawing animals on the family farm at the age of 3, and when he was 38, one of his paintings received a remarkable amount of public notice and acclaim. This painting, called American Gothic, is a starkly simple depiction of a serious couple staring directly out at the viewer.
Now listen to a sample question. What style of painting is known as American Regionalist? In your test book, you will read A. Art from America's inner cities. B. Art from the central region of the U.S. C. Art from various urban areas in the U.S. D. Art from rural sections of America. The best answer to the question, what style of painting is known as American Regionalist, is D. Art from rural sections of America. Therefore, the correct choice is D. Now, listen to another sample question. What is the name of Wood's most successful painting? In your test book, you will read A. American Regionalist. B. The Family Farm in Iowa. C. American Gothic. D. A Serious Couple. The best answer to the question, what is the name of Wood's most successful painting, is C. American Gothic. Therefore, the correct choice is C. Remember, you are not allowed to take notes or write in your test book. Now we will begin Part C with the first talk. Questions 39 through 42. Listen to a sociology professor talk to her class.
Before I start today's sociology lecture, I'd like to talk with you about the papers that you should be working on. As you know, the topic for the paper is the relationship between gun control and violence. The paper itself is due in 2 weeks, but I would like to see your outlines by Friday of this week so that I can be sure that you are on the right track with the assignment. You need to do some research for this paper, so you should be spending some time in the library. I would like you to have at least 3 books and at least 3 recent journal articles as sources. The paper should be 5 pages long. In addition to the 5 pages of composition, you should have a title page and a 1-page reference list of the sources that you used in preparing the paper.
Number 39. When does this talk probably take place? Number 40. When is the paper due? Number 41. What types of references should be used in writing the paper? Number 42. How many total pages should be in the paper, including the title page and the reference list? Questions 43 through 46. Listen to a talk about Hawaii.
For those of you taking part in the trip to Hawaii next week, I'd like to give you a little information about the weather that you can expect there. You can expect the average daily temperature there to be about 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. This is the average daily temperature in the springtime when we will be there. It is interesting to note that it only gets a few degrees warmer in the summer and a few degrees cooler in the winter. One important factor that keeps the temperature so constant and moderate in Hawaii is the trade winds. These are winds that blow in on the northeast or windward side of the islands on an almost daily basis. The trade winds blow through the islands an average of slightly more than 300 days per year, and they are the strongest during the heat of the afternoon and turn into a cooling breeze in the evening. The trade winds also keep the humidity down, which makes the weather even more pleasant. I hope this information will help you to understand the weather conditions that you're going to encounter next week on your trip. It should also help you decide what types of clothes you should be packing for your trip.
Number 43. In what season of the year will the trip take place? Number 44. What is the weather like in Hawaii? Number 45. What is true about the trade winds? Number 46. What will the people listening to the talk probably be doing soon? Questions 47 through 50. Listen to an instructor talk to her class about Walt Whitman.
The topic of today's lecture is Walt Whitman, an American poet and author of the renowned collection of poems, Leaves of Grass. This volume of poems is a celebration of America, full of pride in the United States and reverence for the goals of American democracy. Whitman began writing Leaves of Grass in the middle of the 19th century, and the first edition appeared in 1855 with only 12 poems. Several other editions of Leaves of Grass appeared throughout Whitman's lifetime with additional poems. Leaves of Grass grew and matured right along with Whitman. The longest and best-known poem in Leaves of Grass is Song of Myself, which appeared in the first edition. The poem, When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed, was added to a later edition. This poem was written at the time of Abraham Lincoln's death in 1865 and contained Whitman's reflections on that event. Lincoln's death occurred in April, in the spring, in a season of new life. This poem reflects that spring can be at the same time a period of death and a period of rebirth.
Number 47. This lecture would probably be a part of which course? Number 48. What is the most common theme in Leaves of Grass? Number 49. What best describes Leaves of Grass? Number 50. Which is the longest and best-known poem by Whitman? This is the end of the TOEFL post test, Section 1.